All right. I'll get back to the chat in a second, but I guess while we're talking about the environment and macro issues, let's do our COVID check-in for this week. So the good news is, if I can find where I saved it, there we go. The COVID curve finally started dropping, and this is due to a moderate drop in the Northeast and a sharper drop in the Southeast. However, the Midwest is still climbing. Midwest and Northeast are both firmly in surge territory. Southeast is still in mid to high territory. West is more in moderate COVID spread territory. But as we showed in the year over year in last week's stream, this is highly unusual for this time. Usually by now, it's already in a lull or it's already dropped way further than this. So this seasonal pattern is, oh, here, go ahead and put up the one that from last week. You can see there the year over year. And normally by this time, the COVID is way down. For it to still be increasing means we're in uncharted waters. This is an unprecedented pattern for this time of year. And usually there's a big spike in December, January. And then by late February and early March, it's basically over. Well, it's nowhere near over. So we don't really know where this is going to go from here. But it is concerning. Again, a bit of good news that it has started to drop. Hopefully in a month it will be back in that lull. This thing is not going away. And, you know, we talk about how last year COVID was the number 3 leading cause of death, and it contributed to the number 1 and number 2 diseases, which are heart disease and cancer, because SARS-2 damages the heart and it damages the blood vessels. It causes clotting disorders. It causes inflammation of the heart itself. It can also, through the clotting, cause like deep vein thrombosis and things like that, which is clots that form in the deep veins, and then they dislodge, travel through the circulatory system, and then if they get lodged in the heart, they can kill you. So, yeah, not a good thing. But as far as let me find it. Yeah, but as far as today's little tidbit, this is from Rajiv Jayadevan. Brain fog reduces IQ by 3 or more points, according to a NEJM study. I guess that is New England Journal of Medicine. Earlier, more severe bouts of COVID are linked with greater decline in cognition, and these declines are easy to miss without dedicated testing, and there's links there. So the study is cognition and memory after COVID-19 in a large community sample, and also long COVID and impaired cognition, more evidence and more work to do. So they said there, memory, reasoning, and executive function tasks were had experienced deficits. Those were the largest deficits were in those areas: memory, reasoning, and executive function. Executive function is kind of a basket of skills related to goal setting and carrying out tasks in sort of a step-by-step order, so planning and things like that. And so, yeah, COVID brain fog drains 3 to 6 IQ points from more than a year. So if you think that's no big deal and you want to just see your intelligence go down and down, keep getting fucking COVID, because that's what it's doing. It is attacking your brain. It's causing inflammation throughout your whole body. It's knocking out your immune system by killing your T cells. It's causing heart damage, pancreatic damage, liver damage, kidney damage, on and on. So, waste your brain. Like, who cares, right? I don't know what it's going to take for people to wake the fuck up that we need to stop spreading this disease. This isn't the flu. It is hollowing out people's health. And let me add as well, HIV. On average, HIV takes it can lead to AIDS patterns emerging in a few months, but the average time is like 5 to 10 years. Well, how far are we into this pandemic? What are the long-term effects of catching COVID? We don't know. We know it has some HIV-like effects in terms of its killing of T cells. And just to review that, by the way, because we haven't looked at that in a while, but here we go. Well, there's a New York Times article, how the coronavirus short-circuits the immune system. But that actually wasn't the one that I was looking for. Nope, and that's even another one about the neuropsychiatric sequelae or consequences of HIV, HSV, SARS coronavirus 2, and Ebola. There we go, that's the one. So this is quoting an immunologist named Katzenbach, quote, individuals who are infected with COVID have many fewer T cells. That's a problem for us because T cells are a really important part of our immune system that helps us to defend against infection. But at least 3 studies show COVID-19 actually kills off a significant number of the body's T cells. So even when someone recovers from COVID, they're at a heightened risk for other viral, bacterial, and fungal infections. Quote, that is causing a lot of people to go to the emergency rooms, rightly so, to seek medical aid, and it is overwhelming our healthcare system, said Katzenbach. The only other virus that attacks and kills T cells is HIV, which causes AIDS. To be clear, nobody's equating COVID's impact on T cells to what HIV did to immune systems before effective retroviral treatments were developed. But COVID-19 does eliminate a significant number of T cells, enough to make large numbers of sick people overwhelm emergency wards with RSV, pneumonia, strep infections, and other ailments. Quote, with the loss of these T cells, we are now more vulnerable to all these other infections, other viruses, other bacteria. They are getting in and causing disease, and often more severe disease than what we might have seen previously. She said that COVID-19 sparks what is called programmed cell death or apoptosis among T cells. Cells in the human body do this naturally as they age, but COVID-19 causes healthy T cells to die that would otherwise be available to fight off infections. Quote, the fallout from all of this is more secondary infections, more extreme infections, and mortality, or people dying because of these infections. That's what mortality means. So yeah, for people who don't know, as far as HIV and AIDS, HIV is a virus, AIDS is a syndrome that it causes. A syndrome is a collection of symptoms. So what you get, AIDS is acquired immune deficiency syndrome. What you get is usually after a number of years, your immune system gets hollowed out where run-of-the-mill infections are just feasting on your body and eventually kill you because you just don't have an immune system to fight them off. So again, what are the long-term impacts of COVID? We don't know because it hasn't existed for a long term yet. And so all the just chuckle fucks like rolling the dice on this, it's incredibly risky, it's incredibly harmful.